The new phase that Israel's military announced now leaving Gaza's second biggest city, Khan Yunis, in chaos and parts in ruin. This resident of Khan Yunis searching the rubble of this house after an Israeli strike, Hamdi Tanira, says 30 people were inside, most of them children.
ولا واحد منها طلع سليم الحمد لله رب العالمين كله متصاب كيف ليش والله ما انت فاهم شيء.
Israel's military said Wednesday morning it had carried out about 250 airstrikes in Gaza in the previous 24 hours. It is now operating, quote, in the heart of Khan Yunis, telling civilians to evacuate parts of the city. This Israeli leaflet has a verse on it from the Quran. Ominously, it refers to Noah's warning that a flood was coming. The flood overtook them, it reads, while they persisted in wrongdoing. What isn't flowing into Gaza is enough aid. The Biden administration has sharply warned Israel they aren't doing enough, and the U.S. hopes to see a change in Israeli military tactics during this new phase.
Too many Palestinian civilians continue to be killed. We want to see the civilian death toll lower than it has been. We want to see the civilian death toll lower than it is today, lower than it has been the past few days.
In northern Gaza, the IDF said today they found a large cache of weapons, including missiles, rocket-propelled grenades, and all kinds of explosives. And while Israel expands and intensifies its operations, 138 hostages are still in captivity, with talks over their release broken down. New recordings released Wednesday reveal angry confrontations by released hostages and hostage families in a meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Some accused him of prioritizing politics and said the military's pummeling of Gaza threatened the hostages' lives. A former hostage whose husband is still in captivity accused Netanyahu of having no intelligence on the hostages' locations. The feeling we had there was that no one was doing anything for us, she said. The fact is that I was hiding in a place that was shelled, and we had to be smuggled out, and we were wounded. At one point, Netanyahu was heckled with cries of shame. Another woman told the defense minister, "I'm not willing to sacrifice my son for your career. My son did not volunteer to die in defense of the homeland. He was a citizen who was kidnapped from his home, from his bed." Netanyahu was pressed by the hostages and their families to release more Palestinian prisoners in exchange for the remaining hostages. Netanyahu responded that he heard their heartbreak, but claimed that Hamas wanted a higher price than just the Palestinian prisoners. He went on to say that it was the Israeli military pressure that got the first wave of hostages released. We are now seeing that pressure yet again in Gaza as the IDF drives further south into the Gaza Strip. Alex Marquardt, CNN, Tel Aviv.